Hey, I'm Carlos Garcia, and today we're going to see what is the best distillery of 2025. So I asked a bunch of my friends, Patreon members, anyone that would answer me, really, what was their favorite distillery this year, and it basically came down to Jack Daniel's and Wild Turkey. I don't have all of the releases that they did this year. I don't have the Jack Daniel's Tanager, and I don't have the Wild Turkey single barrel Rickhouse one. I did have the opportunity to buy that, and I bought something else instead. And after all the reviews, I kind of regretted that decision. But I don't have that one. I still haven't seen the Jack Daniel's Tanager at all. I'm hoping to maybe get it at some kind of lottery over the next couple weeks, hopefully. I figure I have the 12 and the 14 that are up there for like maybe bourbon of the year. And I also have the Russell's 13 from this year and the Beacon, which the Beacon for sure is in a lot of people's discussion for whiskey of the year. Maybe it's not so much the Russell's 13, but you know, the age range is right there with these two. And then both distilleries came out with a new product that are cheaper. Now this is about 50 and this is about 70. It's not exactly in the same price point, but they're both shelfers. And so we'll see if the toasted versus the 8-year-old Wild Turkey 101. So how this is going to go, it's going to be basically 3 sets of head-to-head matchups to see which one beats out which one. And then, you know, obviously if one distillery wins all 3, they win. But it's basically 2 out of a 3 type thing that we're doing today and seeing which distillery is the best of the year. But first, let's do a giveaway. All right, so this one is for the Angel's Envy and Midwinter's Night Dram giveaway. Should be 2-ounce samples of each. And the winner is Mike Rada, Bourbon Jesus. Congratulations, buddy. All right, so let's get into the first matchup. And the first matchup is the Toasted versus the 101 8-year. Okay, so on the nose, very peanutty, which I don't think I was expecting too much of that note today. Slight funk, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of vanilla. It's not the most intense nose. More peanut than anything else on A. Let's go to B. Okay, B on the nose is way more intense than A, but not necessarily in the best this way. Bright cherry, which was a great note. A little bit of permanent black marker, char, toasted something. I literally wrote something, but it's like toasted wood or something. All these are toasted charred barrels and stuff, so that makes sense. Not my favorite noses on either of them. So let's get into the palates. First sip of the day, so I'm not sure if that's why, but it was okay. Cherry, peanut, sweet. All I got was peanut shell on the finish. It didn't linger very long. But first sip, hoping that's why. So second sip. Okay, that second sip was a lot better. So I got more Red Jolly Rancher this time, where I basically combined that cherry and the sweetness to get the Red Jolly Rancher. Very wonderful note. A little bit of funkiness on the finish where it was kind of lacking the first sip. Way better the second sip. Milk chocolate, hazelnut. Overall, much better sip on the second time. So third sip. More of the same on the third sip. So let's go to B. Well, after first sip, B is significantly better than A. So Banana Laffy Taffy, cherry, oak, bacon on the finish, barbecue, darker, vanilla, marshmallow. So if you don't like those notes, maybe you like A, but man, B is pretty much a lot better than A on that first sip. I got some cherry on the finish that time, but overall, a lot of the same notes. Very good. I really do like this. One more. Okay, so the winner, pretty easily, the Jack Daniel's Toasted with a 3.75. Beat out the Wild Turkey 8-year where I scored a 3.25. It's just significantly better for me over the Wild Turkey 8-year. Which I guess going into this, I wasn't really sure how this was gonna go, but I have liked this one a lot and I haven't really got too much into this. So the fact that this is pretty much empty kind of should have given me a hint. And the barrel number for this one that I have is 04058 in case you were looking to compare this exact bottle. So let's get into matchup number 2. All right, so this matchup should be the Beacon and the Jack Daniel's 12. And you're asking yourself, I would have put the Beacon versus the Jack Daniel's 14. And that was my initial thoughts. However, the proof points were easier or closer with the 12 and Beacon and the 14 and the Russell's Reserve 13. If we have the Beacon win and the Jack Daniel's 14 win, which, you know, going to this kind of how I think is going to go, possibly, we'll see. We're going to find that out together. I'll try to compare those two against each other at the end. You'll still see it. But for now, we're just going to go this way. So matchup number 2. So glass C on the nose, peanut butter, toasted, dark cherry, marshmallow, and oak. Very dark profile. Let's go to glass D. The nose on glass D is phenomenal. I really enjoy it. Dark cherry, strawberry, red fruit, a lot of like different red fruits. Dark chocolate, marshmallow, very desserty. Both noses were pretty good. Going back to glass A, you get more banana notes on A. Go to the palate. So first sip on A. Dark cherry, oak, cola, cherry cola. Basically mix the cola and the dark cherry notes. On the finish, vanilla, darker oak. It was overall very good. It just wasn't crazy complex, but hopefully the second sip gives it a little bit more complexity. It is pretty good. The second sip, I got cinnamon, vanilla on the palate, very oaky. Now, a decent amount of oak. I don't want to say very oaky. On the finish, I got a little slight nuttiness and it's very sweet. It's very crushable. Either one of these are not cheap. One's significantly cheaper than the other one by like $200 at MSRP. Yeah, it's really good. I really do enjoy that. It's not crazy complex, but overall it's really, really good. Let's go to 4.25. So let's see if glass D can beat it. That palette was phenomenal. Holy wow. I don't know what that is, but that is delicious. Red fruits, intense oak, strawberry cheesecake with raspberry drizzle. That's right, I wrote that crap down. Red Jolly Rancher, spice, green Jolly Rancher. When I went to the finish, it kind of didn't last long, but I don't know if I was just in the palate zone for too long because I was enjoying it for a good amount of time. But for the finish, vanilla, red fruits, oak, spice, I'll try not to enjoy the palate too much this time and try to get some notes on the finish, but man, that is so good. Interesting. The second sip did not live up to the first sip's deliciousness. I got a slight black marker note on the palate this time, which obviously lowers my enthusiasm for it. And on the finish, I didn't get anything new. It's not the longest finish. Man, I thought there was gonna be a landslide too, but now it's starting to come back down to earth. Oh, one more sip. All right, the third sip, the palate got back to being amazing. On the finish, I got a little bit more funkiness and some strawberry and cream. This is delicious. Pretty easy decision here as well. You guys already know I scored the Jack Daniel's 12 Batch 3 a 4.25. And the Beacon smoked its butt with a 4.6. So I'm purposely not going back and forth more because I kind of want to compare these maybe to the opposite side and see how it really stacks up. So let's get into the next matchup. So matchup 3 is the Russell's 13 Batch 6 of 2025 and the brand new of 2025 Jack Daniel's 14. So let's get into nose on E. Okay, so E on the nose, oak, slight marker, dark peanut, not my favorite nose. So let's go to F. So overall the nose on F is pretty light, which is shocking to me. Either one of these would be this light, but dark cherry, vanilla, oak. Let's get into the palates. Okay, first sip, okay. Vanilla, the slight permanent black marker note keeps popping up in this lineup today. Oak, red fruit, dark fruit. On the finish, vanilla fudge, oak, slight black marker note again. Try a second sip. On the second sip, I got a little bit more spiciness on the palate, and on the finish, red fruit and nuttiness. Still a decent amount of that black marker note. Not overwhelming, but it's there. Oh, one more sip. Okay, that last sip, really good. I got strawberry, cinnamon on the palate. I don't really get the black permanent marker note this time. On the finish, lingered a lot longer this time. I got a little cola note. And again, the marker note wasn't there. Did get better every sip. Okay, let's compare it to F. So F on the palate, woody, spice, green apple, red apple, I wrote orchard, strawberry, vanilla, oak. On the finish, apple cider, nutty, hazelnut, vanilla, marshmallow. It's good. Nothing off-putting about it. Very complex. I think there's one overall that kind of wowed me. Now again, I do this every single time where like I start like talking about everything on the first sip of the last sip of the last bottle or last glass. So let me keep drinking glass F. Second sip. Yeah, the second sip was pretty good. It was very similar to the first sip, but the finish just became so much savory. You know, for the palate, the one new note I wrote was green Jolly Rancher. You know, I call that stuff out, but what I usually do is I take my second sip or third sip, whatever, and I look at the notes that I already wrote. As I'm drinking it, I'm like, oh, green apple. I'm like, okay, I already wrote that down. So I think of the notes and I'm like, oh, it's already written down. but the green apple became super sweet, like Green Jolly Rancher. So I wrote Green Jolly Rancher. And again, the finish became very savory. Good. The second sip was definitely a more better experience than the first sip. Just to finish off on the third sip of F, you got more bright cherry on the palate, just phenomenal. And so the winner of the matchup 3, and I guess Jack Daniel's wins this whole thing. They won 2 out of 3. Jack Daniel's 14 with a score of 4.5, and Russell's 13, batch 6, a score of 4, which I just reviewed this like a few episodes ago. It didn't do so well because it was getting me a Windex note. Luckily, I did not get that note today. Awesome. Did a lot better today. And a lot of people are like, you know, you just got to open up a little bit more. I'm actually recording this on Saturday night. You guys see this on Monday, but I have Whiskey Cigar Club tomorrow. This is going to be in tomorrow's blind. So by now, everyone would already had it. So no secret here. So we'll see how it does for me in real time tomorrow, but in this video yesterday. Okay, so what I want to do now, put the Jack Daniel's 14 against the Beacon, because those are the 2 highest scoring ones. Jack Daniel's 14 was in glass F, and D was the Beacon. Okay, so this is gonna be quick. I'm not gonna try to get too many notes. I'm just gonna try to see which one I like better, because the Beacon actually scored higher today than the JD 14, and I'm shocked about that. So let's see how the Beacon is. Really enjoy the Beacon. Wow. So I know I reviewed this already, I think twice on the channel. And the second time, I'm pretty sure I reviewed it against the Calumet 18. And I'm pretty sure the Calumet 18 beat it. The Jack Daniel's 14 beat the Calumet 18. So if the Beacon beats the Jack Daniel's 14, we got a, you know, a 3-way goes around, roundsies. So we'll see what happens here. That is so good too. Holy boy. The Beacon is way more fruity, fruit candy forward. And Jack Daniel's 14 is way more savory. Literally making like tongue water for it. All right, I have a winner. So I probably cut out 20-ish minutes out of what before this. So I drank some water, stepped away for a little bit, came back, and went back and forth a lot. And my winner is a Jack Daniel's 14. It's just a nicer experience than the Beacon, but the Beacon is right up there with it. Point this video was to see which distillery was better, and based off of my scientific research today, Jack Daniel's wins best distillery of the year, which I'm pretty sure you're gonna see a lot of whiskey tubers say that. You know, Jack Daniel's put out a lot of phenomenal bottles this year. This Jack Daniel's 14 is gonna be in top 5 lists all across WhiskeyTube in the next month. I will not do any of my top 5 lists or any of those kind of lists until January. If you've been here since my first episode earlier this year, you'll know how I called out WhiskeyTube for putting out their list in November and December when bottles are still coming out. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and put out my list early, even though that's probably what's gonna drive up views. I will do a top 25 of 2025 in January, just like I did earlier this year, where I did top 25 of 24, a nice little tournament, everything will be blind, and we'll figure out what the top bottle of 2025 is together. You know, as I do giveaways, so let me do a giveaway. It's not gonna be all the bottles in this episode. Some of it will be, but I'm pretty low on the Beacon already. I'm very low on the 14. These are bottles that are gonna be in my tournament, and I will do giveaways of the tournament, but I wanna make sure these bottles make it there because I don't have backups of these. So the 13, which is new, we'll go to my Whiskey Cigar Club tomorrow, so half that bottle is gonna be gone tomorrow. So I'll definitely throw in the Wild Turkey 8-year. I could do the Jack Daniel's 12-year because there's still a significant amount of that left. The Toast is almost gone, but I could probably throw that in. What I'll do is whoever wins this giveaway, I'll work with you and just find some older releases of stuff that I'm sure you're gonna wanna try, and I'll be okay with that. Because, you know, some of these are crazy banger bottles, so I'll make sure you feel good winning this giveaway. So to enter this giveaway, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and oh, you don't have to do this, but there's a hype thing. Click on the hype thing. You know, when I see it on the TV, I don't see the hype thing. I don't know if it's just on the mobile, whatever. But if you see the little hype thing, hype the videos. Apparently that's a good thing now. But like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment with capital letters WTVSJD, Wild Turkey versus Jack Daniel's. That's how you enter the giveaway, and whoever wins, we'll figure it out together. me and you. So what is your favorite distillery of the year? I was asking people for outside of Jack Daniels and Wild Turkey because I figured those are the ones that are going to be a lot of people's favorite distilleries of the year. If you have a small distillery that put out phenomenal stuff, please comment about it, especially if it hasn't been featured on the channel yet. I would love to get some bottles and feature them on the channel. So let me know your favorite distilleries of the year. Even if they're NDPs, they're making their own stuff. If you think Heaven Hill or Jim Beam should be up here. I do want to do a best of Jim Beam video, but I was trying to get the little book bottle because I pretty much have all of the Jim Beam releases that came out this year except for that one. So I would like to do a blind of the best of Jim Beam. So that should come out whenever I get the little book. Don't do nothing stupid. And if you do, don't get caught. Bye.